The Rwandan High Commission in South Africa is hosting the 30th commemoration since the genocide in Rwanda. The day is used to honor thousands of Tutsis who died during the mass killings and to celebrate Rwanda's economic recovery since the genocide. Kailihle Khumalo joins us live now from Pretoria with the very latest. Good evening, Kailihle. Just talk to us about this event.
Well, that's right, Fundo. It's a very gut-wrenching moment as most of the delegates here are going back to that very terrible time in Rwanda as the genocide against the Tutsis occurred and really just shocked the world. But of course, the international community, not really much or a proactive response in terms of stopping the massacres that occurred. So the story of Rwanda really of resilience, but also of sadness. And of course, so many diplomats accredited here in Pretoria in South Africa, they are part of this particular event. And also the sense that you get, Fundo, from the Rwandans, really, they are reflecting on the journey that the country has had, but also warning about the divisions and the use of ethnicity to really just segregate people. But joining us now is one of the ambassadors here in South Africa from Ukraine, Ambassador Liubov, Abravitova. Ambassador, thank you so much indeed for your time. Obviously, looking at what's happened in Rwanda, just your fleeting reaction about today's events.
Good day. So we are here because of Kwibuka. Kwibuka means remember. We express our commemoration to all victims of those biggest massive human rights violations that happened in Rwanda 30 years ago. It really was a big terror that Ukrainians were seeing at that time in 1994. Most of us were so impressed that it was possible to happen in 20th century. We always repeat never again, and it happened. We as Ukrainians who suffered in our history from genocide, the horror of Holodomor, the famine, genocide by Russia in the beginning of 20th century, we understand better than anyone else what it means. But, you know, we speak today a lot about accountability. We speak about how not to allow this to be repeated. The genocides can be different. Genocide in Rwanda, it was something that was happening internally in the country. Today we see one nation is actually trying to eliminate another nation to prevent it from developing when all the issue of Russian aggression in Ukraine is about elimination of Ukrainian self-identity. Isn't it not the same? So for us, probably this date is also very painful because it is happening again. And only through accountability of perpetrators we can make sure that it will not repeat again.
And Ambassador, I think it's quite important, your counterpart from Rwanda, speaking about the issue of those who are behind the genocide, who are still at large for more capitals and the UN system to make sure that they are brought to book. But quickly, Ambassador, Ukraine situation, we heard that President Zelensky might be coming to South Africa. How far is that particular progress in terms of his state visits?
We really hope that it will happen when the time is appropriate for both sides. We understand that we find ourselves under the huge, massive attack of Russia, which never stopped. I want to remind our viewers that the war is happening now as we are speaking. And obviously South Africa is also getting closer to the date of elections. We definitely will find appropriate date for this visit, and you will know.
And just before I let you go, Ambassador, obviously so many atrocities happening from the situation in Gaza to what's happening in Ukraine. Do you still see that there is global support in terms of the momentum for the global solidarity for the people of Ukraine?
We are talking about the value of life. and every life matters. Isn't it what we are discussing today, commemorating the victims of genocide? Isn't it what we are talking about, every conflict that is happening in the world? When I pronounce values, I think about people of Sudan, I think about people of Ukraine, I think about people of Rwanda. We have to make sure that those available mechanisms of international law, of multilateralism that we have today, that they finally start work and prevent future generations of such atrocities that now we know.
Ambassador, thank you so much indeed. Of course, Mfundo, all the way from Ukraine, accredited here in South Africa in Pretoria, really talking about another atrocity that is still unfolding in Ukraine. And of course, a very sharp warning about, just for the world to be very active in avoiding such occurrences of very heinous killings and the massacres. As today, the High Commission in Rwanda is reflecting about the genocide that's happened against the Tutsis, and it's been 30 years since that very terrible chapter.